We are going to talk to another vendor who specializes in a wide variety of beads and estate jewelry, and his name is Mike.
Hello.
Mike, you want to tell us how you got into this business?
Actually, I started many years ago as a bead collector. Glass beads, bone beads, all kind of beads, and it was just a great hobby that I enjoyed. And then I wanted to share the beads, and then I started to try to buy all the beads in the world, and so
Okay.
pretty soon I had a lot of beads. So that's how I really got started doing the gem and mineral show.
When you were doing it as a hobby, did you travel all over the U.S. or the world for beads?
Well, wherever I was, at that time there were people, and still African traders that would get some of the rare beads that I'm going to show you from around the world, and they would bring them to the U.S. And that's how I began, is meeting those fellows and talking to them and learning from them and buying from them.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
so
really.
You get to meet a ton of people in this business too.
Oh yeah, you never know, and there's many people that know more. Everybody offers something, that comes to your table. People have knowledge of their own stories about things. So.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this?
Probably about 15 years or so. I'm a retired accountant. I was an accountant to begin with, and so I've been doing these for about 15 years or so.
Sounds a little bit more exciting than accounting.
Yeah, absolutely it is. You don't have to get in your closet and do your work, believe me.
Yeah.
Right.
And how many shows a year do you do?
I do about 20. I'm getting older, so I do about 20 a show.
Okay.
So.
Are they primarily in this part of the U.S. or in the southeast?
Just all over.
Or
I do some in
all
North
over?
Carolina and Texas and, here and there around Atlanta and so forth. Florida.
Okay.
I'm from Florida, so I do several in Florida, too.
Okay, cool. So what would you like to show us today?
I'd like to show you some of these trade beads here. Most of these beads are glass. They were made in Italy. Many of these beads, for instance, these beads are from the 1700s.
Wow. So these are really antiques.
Absolutely. All these beads in here are over 100 years old. They were made in Italy. For instance, these small ones were taken to Africa by the shipload and traded for palm oil and spices. So believe me, this was the world's money at one time. It was all trade, there was no money exchange, but it was traded. So different kind of beads. The American Indians love these. These are called barber poles. And these are called cross trails. American Indians love these beads. So.
Cool. And we learned about that in history, that the island of Manhattan was sold for beads.
Exactly right. They couldn't speak the language, but if you had a blue bead, they wanted it. They'd give you some furs, or they'd trade something to get the beads. So, these are called millefioria, which in Italian means many or 1,000 flowers. Very popular beads. These are called Russian blues. They're not really made in Russia, but that's just the nickname for them. They're all hand-faceted glass beads. So anyway, it's kind of a great hobby, and so I thought I'd share some, and I sell these, of course. So.
Yeah. So anyone who's looking for old trade beads,
Right.
And so really anything could be traded for these beads at that time.
Exactly. It was the world's money. Hey, it still was. I had to buy every one of them.
Yeah, that's right.
For free, so it was just an interesting hobby for me.